Hey, this is April. Who's in? Hello? 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 I signed in and it said one participant is on there, but no one is answering.
I'm here.
Oh, hey.
Hey.
Anybody else on?
I muted myself.
Okay.
I hope you're taking some medication.
Girl, I'm taking everything I can.
Okay.
I'm just hoping this isn't the flu because it has taken me down longer and harder than anything has in a long time.
Oh. Have you been
I
to
was
the
waiting
doctor?
to take the flu shot. Yep. They said it was viral and didn't do a flu test.
Oh.
But they wouldn't give me any antibiotics with it being viral.
Yuck.
I'm going to have to write it out. Being on the immune suppressive drugs that I'm on knocks me down. So, who else is on now?
I just came on.
This Pam?
Yes.
Pam, I hope you got a big old list of questions. See ya.
I bet I can come up with a whole bunch when he talks.
Okay. Well, I want you to ask a bunch. He's going to talk for about 35 minutes and then about 20 minutes of questions because I told him that y'all were going to have a lot.
I will do my best to not let you down.
Okie doke. Well, I'm sick and I'll probably be on mute because I'm coughing a lot. And I'm not on video because I got pink eye in both eyes.
Oh, Lord.
You in bad shape
Yep.
tonight.
I'm down for the count here tonight, so.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
There you are. We are so glad you're on. We sure appreciate your time, Steve. We know you're a busy guy.
Sure.
So this is April. I'm not on video because I've got pink eye in both eyes and a really bad, nasty cough thing going on. So I decided y'all didn't need to see me tonight. So.
No worries. I actually am getting over a cold, so I have a cough as well. So if I take a second and then sound like I'm dying, and then just ignore me. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you so very much. So.
Yes, I have
So
been
who else
looking
is on?
Sure. So you just want me to take it away?
Yeah. I'm gonna do an introduction thing real quick. We're recording already, Nicole, right?
Yeah, it's recording, yeah.
Okay, and we want to welcome Steve Drapolsky from Baltimore, Maryland. Steve's been with the company for 2 years, Steve, is that right?
Yep.
And was working a very busy full-time executive job and doing 30 virtual parties a month. And he has now quit that other job and is doing Pampered Chef full-time. So I want him to tell us a little bit more about his story, how he got started, and how it really works for him to do that many parties while working another job, since most of you guys do. Most of the people that are going to be on here will listen as a recording afterwards, Steve, because it was a little bit early for them. So we just want to get you recorded. We're all good. Okay?
Sure.
So take it away.
Yeah. So thanks for adjusting the time. Sorry, I have called all night. So sorry, I had to be early. So I'm Steve. I've been Pampered Chef, like April said, just for 2 years, I think 4 months. I basically started because I had more months than money, and you've probably heard that before. That may be your situation as well. But I was sick of living paycheck to paycheck. If I wanted to buy my mom flowers, I was sick of budgeting for it. If I wanted to buy my dad a coin for his collection, I had to save for 6 months. And I'm 6'5". I was living in a 500 square foot studio. So it's like Shrek in a box. So literally it was like just not an ideal situation for me. So I was actually talking to a friend of mine named Amy who was selling, I'm a part of Stacey Itzel's national organization, and she was on her team at the time. I was complaining about my budget and not having enough money to pay for this or that, and she suggested Pampered Chef. It actually took me a whole year to sign up before I started, before I took the plunge and decided to do this in 2016. And I can tell you, I am literally kicking myself because I just wonder where things would be if I had been doing this now for 3 years versus 2. I never planned to leave my full-time job, guys. So everybody always said, as I had more success, which I'm very grateful for, when are you leaving that job? When are you leaving that job? And for me, I had never had that in the cards because I was worried that if I left that job, Pampered Chef would become more of a burden than a thing that I was excited about because I would be depending on it. And I can tell you that this company gives us all the resources and tools to be successful. It's just a matter of making it fit into what we want to accomplish and where we want to go. So that combined with my boss, a new boss who was just crazy, I couldn't deal with it anymore, and I was able to kind of figure out how doing this full time would fit into my life. I am somebody I've always been a very numbers driven person. And if you're not a data person, I suggest you become one with your business and train yourself to look at your numbers, because looking where you are is going to propel you, and at least with me, it has to get me to where I wanted to be, and now where I am and where I'm moving forward toward. So what I did was, before I decided to leave that job, I studied my numbers consistently over a 6-month period prior to leaving my job to discover areas of weakness within my business that I could get on par with the strong areas, so that when I did make the decision, right, I could be confident that I had all my bases covered and that I was completely empowered and not scared and nervous about doing so. But that said, I did work full time for 2 years and some change before I decided to do this. So really what it comes down for me, and I'll get to various things tonight, but what it comes down for me is systems. So I don't know how many of you have systems that you feel are in place that are allowing you to work smarter, not harder. Okay, so that's overwhelmingly no. Okay, so systems, when I started, I was not a systems person. I hated being tied to a certain way of doing things every week. I hated not kind of flying by the seat of my pants, is that the phrase? I just didn't like the idea of having some sort of organizing tool or mechanism in place to make sure that I was doing what I needed to do, right? Because what I found was when I first started, and then once things started blowing up and I started booking more parties, I was burning the candle. I was doing things when I thought of them, like with my parties, nothing was streamlined, nothing was efficient, and I remember sitting at a table with Stacey at her house, Stacey Itzel, and she was like, "What is happening with you?" And I'm like, "I am burnt out." I was like, "I don't know what is happening. I feel overwhelmed." And she's like, "You need to seriously consider coming up with systems of your own, or adapting the systems that she used to my business." So that's really how I have been able to run such a busy show schedule. And when I started, I didn't run 30 parties a month, right? I started just like you guys probably did, or are still right now, with I had that 6 to 8 a month, right? And then I said, okay, well, 6 to 8 works for me, but I'm not making as much money as I want to make, and how am I going to blow that up? By doing more parties, by booking more shows, right? So it all comes down to, as I said, systems that you want to keep in place so that you can grow and expand your business. Systems for host coaching, systems for booking, systems for recruiting. They all allow us to work smarter, not harder, which again, back to this key point, whether you're a consultant, senior consultant, or whatever you are, to identify weaknesses within our business and ourselves personally, to be able to then come up with a game plan to combat those things that we are deficient in, okay? So we'll go over recruiting later. There's a large chunk of it at the end, but let's just first talk about host coaching. So once the party is set up, so my host coaching, my parties all start on Fridays. So I run 7-day parties. The first 2 days are what you probably use, and if not, I'll just call it this. It's pre-party days, right? So I don't showcase any products in the first 2 days of the party. It's all you have $20 and 6 people to feed, sound off for what you're making for a ticket to the grand prize. Or what's your biggest kitchen blunder? Sound off for a ticket to the grand prize, right? What you want to do in those first 2 days, or in your case, however many days of that pre-party you have, that is the time where you hook your guests in the party to be a part and excited about the experience that you're offering. You've heard this from home office and probably April or whoever else. One of the biggest complaints the guests have when they fill out surveys for home office is that the experience in online parties is all over the place. It's like a big old disjointed mess, okay? Because it's almost like we're word vomiting because we're so excited about how amazing the company is and all the products that we're just oversharing everything and putting all sorts of products together that don't make any sense. And what that does for the customer is they feel overwhelmed and they get out of the party because they're like, I don't even know what's happening, okay? So again, host coaching, my party started on Fridays. They run for 7 days. Friday, Saturday are the pre-party days, and then Sunday through Thursday are the days of product. So a lot of what you hear from me, I don't do a lot of what home office suggests, because that doesn't work. That's not how I built my business, and that's not how I built my team of consultants. So a lot of what you'll hear tonight is stuff that I just came up with, and if it worked, I kept doing it and maximized it to greater potential for me or my team. Or if it didn't work, I threw it in the trash and tried something else. Okay. So the parties are 7 days. The 5 days of product, themed product. The first day is gadgets. Second day is what's new. The third day is bakeware. The fourth day is stoneware. And the last day is my favorite things. So what I'm doing there, in my experience, is I'm starting with the building of the relationship with all the fun posts, right? Then I'm getting to the meat and potatoes of the party, which is the products. And then I'm ending with my favorite products, which provides closure that they just had a full, well-rounded experience of a week-long party with a real person who uses the products. This is what I use them for. And that wraps up the show with that last day. You'll hear some consultants that do like post-party days. I don't do that. You have some consultants who do they leave their parties open for days, weeks, months afterwards. I don't do that. The host has until 10 o'clock Eastern time that night to place their order. And if they don't order, I will order for them. Smiley face. Now, has that ever happened? Only once. It was a $1,000 party, so I got to have a lot of fun shopping for her. Okay? So back to host coaching, sorry. So I'm just giving you a sense of why I start when I do. So the party runs for 7 days, starts on Friday. I start my host coaching. It starts on Tuesday of the week leading up to. I don't send host packets. Never have, never will. Because people doing online parties, in my experience, they don't want them. That's why they're doing an online party. They don't want the extra paper. Now, do I ask them if they want catalogs for outside orders? Sure. But sometimes they don't even want that, okay? So Tuesday of the party, I do groups now because, I was always an event lover, okay? But with all the changes, I wasn't able to welcome new team members and onboard them properly if I wasn't doing the Facebook way that allowed a posting system. So I encourage new team members, and I am also using groups. So what I do in terms of host coaching, what I do on Tuesday, that's when I'll create the group. That's when I will obviously have to add somebody to the group to start it. So I'll add the host, and then I'll message the host language, something like, and I'm happy to share this with April. I have all these, I'm happy to share this document with her that has all the words. But basically I say, hey, Nicole, I'm super excited for your party to start. I've created your group and I've added you. Now it's time to add members. You want to add at least 200 people, because usually then 80 to 100 will click OK to be added, and 12 to 13 will order, $50 to $75, giving you $500 or more in sales, $100 in free product, 3 half-price items, blah, 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 blah. Please add them tonight and let me know when you have done so. Now, I'm going to be able to see when they do it, but I want her or him to let me know when they have done doing what I tell them. Now, one of the biggest things with host coaching is that no matter how new you are, or how long you've been doing this, or how shy you are, or how not salesy you are, I don't care. You are the authority on how to run this party to get them the most that they want from it in terms of free product. So that's how you have to go into your host coaching with them. You have to be assertive. You have to act as if you know what you're doing, even if you don't think you do know what you're doing, because they are not going to listen to you and follow your lead if they don't think that you do. Does that make sense? Okay. So, nope. Okay. So that's literally all I do on Tuesday. Okay. Then we go on Wednesday. What I do is I have in the morning and at night, I have the host do both of these things. So I have them. So as we know, the algorithms for Facebook are always changing, right? Thanks a lot, Facebook. So one thing that I do is I have the host post on their personal wall in the morning saying, I have added many of you to my online Pampered Chef Party group here on Facebook. If you haven't been added and you want to be, click the link to the online group and ask to be added, easy as pie or whatever. Okay. I also say, and I just found this out the other day, that now Facebook is not sending notifications to people when they've been added to a group. So one of the other things I include in that message now on their personal wall, again, because we're trying to capture as many people from all angles, right? I say, also for those of you that I've added, Facebook algorithms are always changing, so you want to make sure you go to the group section under Explorer and scroll all the way down to see my online group and click OK to be added. Okay, now I have them do that in the morning, right? What I'll normally see is at least 20, if not more, additional members by the evening. And so then I'll message the host again and say, hey, oh my gosh, your numbers have gone up from 36 to 56 just from doing what I had you do earlier. Many people don't check their Facebook all day. They check it sometimes just in the morning or just at night. So I would love for you to be willing to post this again on your personal wall, exactly as you did before with the link, so that we can get some more people added as members. Okay, so then that normally will capture other people that are only getting online and in the evening to click OK to be added to the event if they want to be. Then so that's all I do Wednesday. Then on Thursday, what I do is I will, sorry, I live in the city and there's sirens. I will message the host again in the morning on Thursday, and I'll say, oh gosh, we're up to X number of members, we're almost there. And you can make that up to be whatever. Like if they're not almost there, you want to get more, right? So you can just say, oh, we're getting closer to our goal of whatever. And I would say, would you be willing to tag 15 people in the post that you did last night that you know are foodies or people with extra income or people that love to cook? Just letting them know so that they are definitely on your radar for people that want to be added to the group. Okay, normally then from that 15, I'll see another 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 people that are added as members that click OK or whatever. So, and then Friday, what I do is I simply put all of my hosts for that week into a group message, and I send to them, hey, hey Pam, I'm so excited for your online parties to start this week. You all are starting parties today. This is where I'll post your daily host posts. You also want to make sure that you are tagging your friends in the games, and you are recommending tagging people on product posts that you think might be interested. The hosts that do this more often are more likely to have the best amount of rewards. So it's really up to you how well your party goes. I just give you all the tools to make it happen. Okay, so that's where I'll send the daily post each day. What's your biggest kitchen headache? Mine is doing dishes. Sound off for a ticket to the blah 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 blah. On the first day of the product post, I'll say, oh my gosh, it's party time. So glad so many of you are here. Share with me what your best memory of our friendship is and how we know each other for a ticket to the grand prize. Since fall is here, I would say, hey, it's fall, y'all. What's your favorite thing about fall? Mine is all the leaves and da 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 da. So these are engagement posts, right? This will show on some level, at least, even if you have a really bad host that doesn't do the other things we need them to do, that they are doing this one thing consistently daily so that other people are seeing that they're actually engaged and not in the party at all. Does that make sense? And then in the middle of the party, I will remind the host that in the group message that the parties are closing at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, my time, on that Thursday, and that they will have 2 hours to get their host order in, so that they should be making their wish list over the next few days so that they can get their order in on time. Because I'm not on direct ship, and for those of you who are, I'm so sorry. But for direct ship, I mean, I'm not. So if I add free gifts and stuff, basically the guests don't get their orders until I sit at the party. So what I say is, your guests have graciously spent money to support you to help you earn rewards, and we want to make sure we get those parties closed as soon as possible. So that's why you will have 2 hours to order. Okay? Now, do they always order within 2 hours? No, but do they normally get it in by midnight? Yes. And if I wake up to it, that's fine. Doesn't always have to be exactly within 2 hours. Now, I don't tell them that, right? Okay, so that's literally what I do for host coaching. One other thing I do for host coaching is when they first book the party, this is really where it begins. What I tell them is I might say, hey, Pam, thanks so much for booking a show with me. I'm actually going to add you to 2 groups. One of them is a host that had a really great party with me that was over $1,400, and another host, Linda, whose party didn't qualify at all. So go ahead and just scroll through those, and can you tell me what you see happening in Linda's party? And the host will say, oh, well, Linda's like posting, it seems like once a day. Linda's like tagging her friends. Linda's engaging. And I'd be like, okay, and what do you see in this other person's party? And they're like, well, it's the opposite. They're not doing anything. And I was like, okay, which host do you want to be? Do you want to be the one that earns $100 worth of product and 5 half-price items and 60% off, blah, blah, blah? Or do you want to be this person that didn't do anything and didn't earn anything? So what that does is that sets the expectation very minimally, right, for the person that's hosting, that basically you're subconsciously almost putting it in their ear, whispering what they need to do to have a great show. And they're going to be thinking about that, whether you think so or not, it's going to come up in their mind every time they think about the fact that they have a party coming up. Oh, well, I better be Lauren. I better post my daily post. I better tag my friends. I better because I want to have a $1,400 party. Okay. So that is host coaching. That's pretty much what I do. Hold on. All right, so system for booking, okay? So booking, so I do the posts in my parties about like, oh, the usual ones, like you can get 60% off, all those. But one thing I realized was that, it wasn't always working for me. And so I thought, okay, what else can I do that will hopefully give me the results I want so I can grow my schedule from this to this? So I started doing what I called, which is a bad name, not nothing exciting, the host booking challenge. How many of you have heard of this? Okay, so I don't book my own parties anymore. My hosts book my parties for me. So what I do is on the first day of the actual day of the party, so the actual products showcasing, I will message Nicole and say, she's a host, hey Nicole, so I have a challenge for you, should you choose to accept it. Now, Nicole may not like challenges, and Nicole may be like, what is happening? Or she may love to be challenged, and just in life, right? But Nicole's gonna feel tickled either way that I think she's cool enough to give her a challenge, okay? Then, normally, I've only had one person ever not agree to do it, okay? Out of my whole I haven't been doing it for the 2 full years, like a year and 6 months. And I'll say, well, Nicole, normally I have my hosts help me to book 3 parties from their party. All you have to do is pick 5 people that you think would be great hosts like you, and send them a personal Facebook message, and I'll send you the language to you. So all you have to do is copy and paste. You want to include me on each of those 5 messages. And if you do that, if you book those 3 parties for me, I'll add a free gift to your host order. And at all of those parties that you book, when they hit $200, you'll get any one item or set at half off, whatever you want. So here's the thing. I don't tell them that Pampered Chef pays for that. So they think, wow, Steve is so generous. He is going to pay for any one item or set that I want that maybe I can't afford right now from my wish list if I just help him get some shows booked. I can do that. If Steve can be that generous, I can be generous and help him. You're laughing, but one of the things is that Pampered Chef, or the hosts are so focused in the moment about what they're getting, they are not looking at the catalog to see that future party pick it back. And I'm not telling them. right? So they will, and then what I say is I go in the party and I look at 5 people that I think would be great and that live all across the US. So that I'm getting a pool of their friends from all 5 different parts in the US so that I'm expanding my customer base beyond whatever state they're in. So I would say, Sharon, I told her pick 5 people. I would say, Sharon, oh my gosh, these 5 people I think would be great. Right? So then I'm making it even easier. I'm telling them who to pick. Okay? Literally, I have 40 parties in November. 40. I know, Nicole's like losing her mind. 40 parties, and I already have 16 in December and 6 in January. Just from having them book for me. Now, I do get a random booking here and then from one of the posts, like, oh, book a party at 60% off, blah, blah, blah. But it just doesn't really cut it anymore because this personal angle where the host says, hey, Sharon, I just wanted to reach out to you because I thought you might want to get some goodies for free, just like I did. My consultant's really great. He makes it so easy, da, 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 da. That's a personal connection, whether they're really close with them or not. They feel special, like you're saying, oh, I want you to have this opportunity, friend, to get free stuff just like I did. And after they send this message, then after I see that they've seen it, I go in for the kill with a green dot message, which I'm sure you've heard of, which is, hey, Sharon, I'm so excited. Nicole thinks you'd be a great host just like her. All you have to do is create, add friends or add people to a group that I create, post once a day, 5 seconds every time a day. Most hosts earn $100 in free product, 3 half-price items, and I have this date and this date to start. What do you think? Now, are you going to get them every time? No, but I guarantee you, you're going to have one host who's like, I'm getting those 3 bookings because they like to be challenged. And then you may have one person that only gets 1. And what is the saying? We want 2 parties to be booked from every party, 1 to replace that one and 1 to grow our business. Sometimes you're going to have the one that gets 3, and then I'm going to say, well, Sharon, let's get 5. You get 5, I'll knock $10 off your host order, and you'll get the free gift. And I have no problem spending a little bit of money to make a whole lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And what that does is, when you have those parties booked from that host, then you're keeping the relationship with the host going. It doesn't end. So that then when it gets time again for, it's been 6 months or 8 months or whatever, and you need another booking for your calendar, you can reach out to Sharon because Sharon's been on that ride with you and gotten some free or something half price for the past 3-4 months from these shows they booked for you. And now Sharon's ready again for more of her own free stuff. So it makes the relationship not transactional. It makes the situation not transactional. It makes it a relationship. Does that make sense? So that's what I use for booking. Now on to recruiting. Let's see. Okay. So the way that I recruit and that I teach my team to recruit are the following things. So obviously you guys know this, but your host is the primetime person to want to join your team, okay? When I first started, I didn't really pay attention to that. I didn't believe it. But then once I flipped my mindset and started being intentional, that's when I started recruiting all kinds of hosts, okay? So the way that I present it to the host is at the week before their parties are slated to start, I reach out to my host and I remind them and say, hey, I'm just thinking about you. I'm super excited for your party to start. And if you want to move forward with just your party, that's great. But I do want to let you know that this month, the signing incentive to be a new consultant is X. And I'm totally willing to run your launch party if you decide that you want this party, if you do want to do this and you want to flip this party so that it's your launch and not a party that I'm making money off of. That way you can make the money and earn the free products. What do you think? So sometimes I flip them even before the party starts. Sometimes I flip them a few days after it starts once they see how fun it is and how easy it is. And if they have good sales, obviously, that they think is a viable business. And that takes a little more work, right? But that's fine. But with my host, so I'll always mention it to them the week before individually. And then when I put them in that group message, that first group message I send to all of them tells them also to watch what I do, in parentheses, how little I do. Because they can easily do this too. We can flip their party, da 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 da. So that's really the first planting of the seed is that at that moment. Okay. The second time I mention it to them, and this is privately, is in the middle of the party. I'll say, Teresa, oh my gosh, I hope you're having fun. I'm having such a great time. I just want to let you know that the sales for your party are already at like $300, depending on what they are. So for me, if they're like at $500 on the third or fourth day, I would say, I'm going to make like X amount of money off of your party already. Why would we not have you make that money and you sign up and join my team? And we flip it, like I mentioned before, which is already in their head because I already planted the seed, right? Or if the party sales aren't, sometimes the party sales come in at the very end, right? Silly people. I would say, I would show them a picture of my first commission check in the business and say, I just wanted to remind you that you can totally do this too. And, and I send them a picture of my check as a consultant in my first month, full month, which was like $1,049. And I say, it's very easy to do what I do. And this just shows, real money can be made doing this, hashtag just something to think about, smiley face. Okay. Then at the very end of the party, when they're shopping for their host rewards, I'll say, oh, wow, Nicole, I know this is probably the furthest thing from your mind right now, but, you can actually use up to, if it's 50 or 25, whatever, of your free product value towards starting your own business and joining my team. That takes your kit cost down to, this month, whatever, it takes it down to $59. And then, you're going to get half of the cost of the kit back when you hit $1,250 in your first 30 days, which is like 3 parties. Okay, so you're planting the seed, you're watering it, and then hopefully it's growing in the third pass. Now that's for hosts. So in terms of how I recruit my guests in the party, so I do 2 or 3 posts in the parties that basically, one is on the first day, one's in the middle of the party, and one's towards the end where, I do 2 of those. One of them is the daily host post that the host does that says, I bet you can tell Steve loves his Pampered Chef. Just ask him any question for 10 tickets to the grand prize. Nothing is off limits, blah, 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 blah. So there's that. And then the other 2 times, again, are once on the first day and then one time towards the end where I say, ask me questions about what I do. This month, the signing incentive is amazing. You can get half the cost of your kit back and just, when you qualify, da, 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 and then I put a list of questions so that if they can't think of anything, they can just pull one from the list and ask it. Then what I do is, Sharon might ask, how much do you have to sell? This one we love. How much do you have to sell each month? Is there a requirement to sell blah, blah, blah each month? And I would respond and say, tag Sharon and say, Sharon, thank you so much for your question. I would answer it so that everybody else can see it. And then I would say, I'm going to send you a personal Facebook message, a fun personal Facebook message. Here's where to find it, hiding in your message request folder in your inbox. Because if they're not friends with you, that message goes to like an abyss folder that they won't look at or see if you're not telling them where to find it. So once it goes there, I would say, once I send that, I would message Sharon and say, hey, Sharon, exclamation point, it's the Pampered Chef guy, smiley face. Okay? Now, do they always answer? No. But if you don't message them, you'll never know, right? So you message me back and you say, hey, hi, you say hi or whatever, or hey, what's up? And I would say, thank you so much for letting me message you, or I would say, thank you so much for playing my game and asking a question. I just wanted to reach out and see if you actually wanted to learn more about the business or if you were just playing to get tickets to the prize. Either is okay. Normally, they want the tickets. But then I ask them, I say, no problem, no worries, that's okay. I said, but are you willing to hear a little bit more about what I do? And 90% of the time they're willing to hear more, and then I can convince them why it's a great idea to start a business with me. Now, the way that conversation goes, it really is a dance. So when I first started, I was very word vomity of the opportunity. Like, it's amazing, you should try it, it's cheap, there's no startup, whatever. Like I was basically just like throwing everything at the wall to try to sell it. And that is a big turnoff for people. So it really is a dance in that you want to ask open-ended questions and let them do 90% of the chatting with you. Because you want them to talk themselves into it. You don't want to be the one that's selling the opportunity. You're selling the sizzle a little bit, but they are the ones that should talk themselves into signing up. So say that Nicole responds back and says, oh, I just want the tickets. And I was like, oh, no worries. Would you be willing to listen to more about what I do? And she's like, yeah. And I say, so are you having fun in the party? What's your favorite part? And she might respond with, oh, I like the games and I like all the interaction. And I was like, yeah, like this is my job technically, but it's not really a job. It's just like a one big old continuous party. Smiley face. Okay. Then I might say, do you work full time? And then Nicole might say, oh, well, I used to work, but now I'm home with my 3 kids. We homeschool them. So that's going to take my mind into a totally different direction about what I'm going to say next, versus if Nicole was like, oh, I'm a teacher and, my kid, blah, blah, blah. Because I know teachers don't make a lot of money, sadly. So then I would take the angle being that what the opportunity could do for her would be add additional income that she can earn from her couch while she still works her job and takes care of her kids. Whereas if somebody says, before what I said was, oh, they've been doing this, they used to work, now they don't, but they probably still would like to contribute to the household income. So this is a great way for me to take it in that direction. Like, this is great because you can still do all of the things that you have to do at home and do all those responsibilities, but you can be earning money on the side and earning free products that, for your kitchen. If somebody says, oh, I work for the Department of Homeland Security at like 80 hours a week, I'm so burnt out, then obviously they probably don't need the money. They probably would like something that they can do for themselves that's a little more exciting than the day-to-day turmoil of whatever they do. So that's where I'm going to sell the sizzle of being a part of our team. We have, it's more like a family. We have monthly trainings. Everybody supports each other. This is all about them, et cetera, et cetera. Does that make sense? And I'm not saying does that make sense because I don't think it makes sense. I like to confirm that.
I say that all the time.
Okay, good. All right. How many of you have team members? Nicole?
Yeah.
How many? So Sharon, Pam, Teresa, do you want team members? You can just nod.
Of course. Who wouldn't want a team member?
Yeah, okay.
I'm very new to this, Steve, so I need some more experience before I add some team members.
So that's probably the biggest mistake you can make. I'll tell you right now.
Really?
2 years and 4 months in, I still don't know what I'm doing. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
I teach my new consultants when they sign up that recruiting team members is just a part of what we do. It's just like selling.
Okay.
Equally as important, right? And for my team members, for a while, our team name was Steve & Joseph's All the Sales Superstars. So what are they thinking when they go to our team page all the time? Sales, 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 sales. When I post something, they're seeing so-and-so posted in all the sales. I wasn't doing any training about recruiting. It was all about selling. So you gotta throw that whole idea that you don't know enough out the door, because I'm an executive and I don't know what I'm doing half the time. I just try things, try to support my team the best way I can. If I find that it's not getting them the return on investment that they want, or me, I change it up. I try something new. I don't stay stuck. I say, okay, what can I be doing better or different? So that's the biggest mistake. You can wait and think that you're not ready, because that's what I did. And I remember my upline, Stacey Etzel, said to me, well, your sales are great, but you do know that the best thing we have in the catalog is sharing the opportunity. It's almost selfish of us to not do it, because no matter what amount of money you're making, just imagine if you can have 3 or 4 or 5 people on your team that are having a piece of that pie, just like you are. That for me is why I stay and do this. It's not about money anymore. It's not about how many parties can I book. It's about how many people can I help, which sounds very Dr. Phil. I get it, but it's the truth. One last thing before questions, I'll just say that you may or may not have heard this, but you want to be able to book, sell, and recruit, and to grow your business, you have got to be making 25 two-way contacts a week. 25. Yeah, Sharon's like, wow. I think she said wow. 25, all right? Because here's the thing, right? I do this challenge with my team probably every quarter called Go for the No. And what I challenge them to do, and I add in prizes and stuff and all that, and that's up to your upline or whatever, but I challenge them to go and make contacts to get 100 people to say no. Because what we see then is how many people do we have to actually ask to get a yes? Because then if you're the consultant that's doing it and you're like, I'm not you being you guys, but like my team members, and they're like, I don't have the shows because there's only one. And I'm like, okay. I'm like when they first start out, they'll say, well, I asked 10 people, and I'm like, yeah, keep going. That's not enough. Like, you want to have 6 shows a month, you got to ask 60 people. So the 25 contacts, that's 5 a day. So figuring you don't do it every day. So right, like 5 days a week, right? And think about this. So 5 contacts a day, 5 days a week, that will give you 1,300 new contacts a year. And if 1 out of every 10 of those contacts says yes to hosting, that would be an additional 130 shows per year on your calendar. How many of you would like 130 shows? Okay, clearly. And then figure the average is like $500 a show. That's $65,000 in sales. So right there, that's 65,000 incentive trip points. So you won a trip, the level 1 trip, and you earned roughly 16 grand in commissions. And if you do the host booking challenge, you're gonna get bookings from all those 130 shows. Okay? So now you guys can ask me whatever you want. Hopefully that was helpful.
I have one. This is April.
Sure.
So with that many parties, do you use like share post my party, or do you manually post? And how do you stay out of Facebook jail and stay in the good graces of Facebook by doing as many parties as you do?
So the Facebook jail thing is kind of not a thing anymore, because since they changed, I mean, it may change, but since like I remember the time when I was using Post My Party and everything had to be a minute or 5 minutes apart and or you're in jail, when I was running so many. But with all the changes, that actually is not a thing anymore. So like just before I got on this call, I posted. So I'll be honest, I'm still manually posting in my parties right now, because I'm going to do my own outline, like my directors every month. One of them is tasked with doing the outline for the entire organization that they share the link to. But I'm not going to use another director's template. I always make my own for me. So I haven't had a chance to do that yet with the new product. So I haven't had a chance to do that yet. So I do have all of the posts in my emails from before. So it's a long story, but no, I'm not manually posting. I'm manually posting, but my team members are all using a posting service. But even with manually posting, I just posted in 8 parties before I got on this call, one after another consecutively, and there's no problems. The only weirdness is now Facebook is sometimes weird about links. Like URLs, like to like YouTube video or something. Sometimes they think it's spam immediately, and so they don't let you post. But I haven't had. I mean, the Facebook jail thing is really not a thing for now. I mean, again, it's always changing. So,
how many posts do you do per day, average?
So I do 16, 4 at 8 in the morning, 4 at 12, 4 at 5, and 4 at 9 o'clock. Obviously in the morning they're eating breakfast or checking social media. Lunchtime, if it's somebody that can't be on the phone at work, then they're checking their phone at lunch, and most people are as well. 5 o'clock, they're usually leaving work when they can check their phone in the car, or people that are just eating dinner. And then 9 o'clock, because I want them to be thinking about me when they go to bed. Not in like a creepy way, just temperature. And home office would be like, that's too many posts, but you know what? Our organization average is 710, so I think it's okay.
Who else has questions?
Hey, I was wondering if you could go back over on what you send to the host the Tuesday before you do the actual party.
Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll share my 7-Day 101 groups document. I'll just share it with April, and she can share it with you guys.
Okay, that's cool. Thank you.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I can say it to you, but you're not going to get every word. It's just easier to have the words. You'll just have all the words in front of you.
I appreciate that. Right now, all I do is virtual parties. And I have 6 going on right now, and 3 of them are fixing to flop.
Yeah. No problem.
What's your flop rate, Steve?
Well, the reason so now, like I said, I have 40 in November, but the reason I would always book 30 would be normally because I would say 5 of them, either the host doesn't listen to me or the party doesn't that doesn't qualify. So like my team like looks at me, and I'm just being funny. They look at me like I'm this like magical unicorn that doesn't do anything wrong, recruits everybody I ask, has $1,000 shows, never had a bad one. I'm like, so every week I'll be like, hey everybody, here's an update. I'm a real human. 2 parties didn't qualify. This one was only 400. This one was 1,400. So I'm a real person just like you. So I would say the reason I book you always want to have overage, because that will ensure that you are making the amount of money you want to make and accounting for any attrition from parties that either don't qualify or the host doesn't listen to you, or maybe the host does listen to you and all of their Facebook friends are all local and they don't live in a socioeconomically well-off area and they have the best intentions and they all buy like a citrus peeler, but obviously that doesn't qualify you.
I was interested in your challenge.
Yep.
And can you repeat again the incentive that you give them?
Yeah, so I offer, if they can get me 3 parties booked, I offer to give them, I offer to add a free gift on their order, in their host order. They don't know what it is, but I'll tell you when their order comes and they get that free corn butter, they about lose their mind. They're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, you're so nice, da, 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 da. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, it's just the corn butter. But, you know, there's
So
that.
you pick the gift, you don't let them pick the gift.
No.
Okay.
And
That's
I don't
what I
tell them
wanted to be clear
I
on.
don't tell them how much it's worth. It's usually something that's $5 or less. People just want free stuff. And then I tell them they also get any one item or set at all of those parties that they book for me.
Right.
Now you might want to say when they hit 200, I don't normally have a problem qualifying parties, you know, gratefully. So I don't add that in, but you know, you just to manage expectations, you could say, you know, when it hits 200, you'll get any one item or set half off.
Thank you.
Sure.
So what do you do if the host meets the host challenge, but the party doesn't qualify?
That's tricky. So so if the party isn't at least over $200, I won't do it with them, because it's kind of like poking them like, hey, your party didn't do well, but help me get more parties. So
Yeah.
now I will do, like if I notice there's like somebody that spent, so say that the party didn't qualify, but one person spent $150, you better believe I'm texting that person, that I'm thanking them privately for their order and saying, oh my gosh, why pay for this when you can get more of it for free? You should host a party. So there are other things that I do to get parties booked, but the bread and butter really is the booking challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I still do all the things that everybody else does. I do the post in there, you know, host a party with me. I have these days open. You can get this. I mean, I still do that, but I do my own thing, which is the host booking challenge. So that's really what's proven to work for me.
So what's your system for keeping up with all of the things you have to send people, from like having the most points and all that? Because that's a hard thing for me to keep up with.
So I still say in my parties, oh, comment for a ticket to the grand prize. I'm not keeping track. I pick one person at the very end who was the most engaged, that everybody, if they looked at the party, they would know that Mary Lou posted on every single thing under the sun. So she's going to have the most tickets and she's going to have the greatest chance of winning the prize. And then it's always somebody that ordered who wins the grand prize, and somebody who, and then the person that was the most active. I used to keep track, and then I'm like, no way, can't do that. Now, the last day on Thursday at my party, as a part of my systems, right? It's my admin kind of thing for the closing of the shows. I go through every party and make a list of everybody that won anything, because I do a free gift for every game. I do a pre-party prize. I do a grand prize, right? So I make a list of everybody, and then what I make sure to do at the very end is, when I say this party is closed, I say, if you were not able to place an order, please private message me regarding, if you weren't able to order and you want a gift, please private message me, you know, as soon as possible. Now, here's the thing. Very few people have ever had the cojones to message me to say, hey, I didn't order anything, but please send me my free gift. Like 2 people have done that, and if they do, you know, it's Pampered Chef ethics that it's a policy that you can't say that they won something and not give it to them. right? But if they reach out to me, what I'll normally say is, because you weren't able to order, unfortunately, I can't add this item to your order, but I would love to send you an e-cookbook with all sorts of recipes. Please send me your email address. Some people, like a few people I've had, will be adamant and they're like, well, I want my toaster tongs and I want them. So then I will order them, I'll pay the $5 shipping, but people normally don't act that way. Anybody else?
Do you do any live shows at all, or are you all virtual?
Nope, no live shows. Although I do have one, I agreed to do one freezer meal workshop for my sister-in-law next month. And not to my liking, I will not do it again. Basically, she doesn't like to do online parties, and she did one for me, but I agreed to babysit her kid, my nephew and niece for her if she would do it. This is back when I had some other parties. And she did it, and her party was like $400, which was good, but she didn't want to do another one. But she was driving to a friend of hers who has a consultant that's actually a director in Stacy's organization, and she works with her, and she was like, oh, I loved it, and I would love to do it, but I want to do it with you. So I was like, okay, sure, we can do it, whatever. And, freezer meal workshops are good because they got to buy $80 worth of stuff up front. So that's already going to be like a $500 party, and then, I can sell my butt off at the party, sell all the other stuff. So, I'm going to give it a whirl, but no, all online for me, the way to go.
Those are a lot of work, Steve. So
They
don't
are.
judge live parties for that, because they're like twice the work as the other
Well,
one.
here's the thing. I've been trying to lock down a date with her like for a couple days now, and she hasn't gotten back to me. So eventually I'm just going to stop messaging her. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I mean, I don't need it. I'm just doing it to do it. But anyway.
So what is your monthly paycheck, if you don't mind sharing, based on how many shows you're doing right now?
Last month it was $9,600.
Wow.
Holy
And how many
crap.
people are on your team?
I have. Well, we're hitting month 1 of senior executive director team this month. You have to go three months in a row to actually achieve it. But so that 95. What did you ask me? Oh, how many team members? We have like 220 team members, but we'll have another 5 director promotions this month.
Wow. And these are all virtual, pretty much 100% virtual.
All virtual. That's how we meet them. So that's what they want to do.
Yeah. Amazing. Wow.
People say that, and I'm just like, I'm just doing my thing. I don't see it as any like. People ask me like what we're doing. I'm like, we're just selling spatulas. That's what we're doing. We're just selling spatulas and having other people sell them. That's it. But I mean, I guess it's amazing, I guess. But I don't know. I just see it as doing my job. I don't know. I guess.
Well, I love your systems and pure genius. Really, really awesome. So we really appreciate your time and everything. Does anybody have any last questions before we let Steve go so he can be on his next call?
Thank you very much for.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure. And if you have any other questions, just like send them to April, and then she can just send them to me, and then I can answer them all, and then she can get them out to everybody that needs stuff answered. Just easier that way versus like messaging me privately. Because here's the thing, I will forget to respond to you, not because I'm a jerk, but because I just will forget. I'll see, and then you'll see it. You'll be like, well, he saw it. He didn't respond to me. But I had the best intentions. So just send it to April, and then I can answer them all at
Well,
once.
we appreciate you ever so much. Have a great next call, and thanks for sharing with us. All right.
No problem. Have a
Thanks so
great
much.
night.
Bye-bye.